In this video, you're gonna hear a coaching demo where I helped a client get over her deep, deep fear of a family member dying in a matter of minutes. This work is so good. So this is a captured real coaching demonstration right out of one of our paid programs. And this client had a lot of fear wrapped around her son potentially dying. So as you listen to this, I want you to really pay attention to a few key points. Number one, I left all the silence in. When you get into these deep work transformational sessions, there's a lot of silence, and you've got to be okay with the client diving into their emotions, diving into the way that they're holding on to their problems, because all of the work is happening inside of them. So enjoy the silence. You'll also hear me cut her off when she starts trying to tell the story about all the justifications that in the moment I thought were completely irrelevant. And then one of the themes that's woven throughout this whole conversation is the perpetual dance between the head and the heart. I think you're gonna love this session if you are a geek about coaching like I am. So enjoy this process. Oh yeah, and then stick around to the end. The last 10 minutes or so is a debrief where we discuss and dissect all the different components. What am I listening for? When to push, when to pull, all the things that you really have to understand in order to master transformational coaching.
Let's play with fear. Fear is such an overarching emotion that so many people have in so many different ways. You are now unmuted, Sheila. Can you say something to make sure we can hear you?
Hi, Sean.
Tell me a little bit about what the fear is.
The fear is actually I have several, but the dominant one is for my son.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more. How is it for him? Like he's going to hurt himself, or are you afraid of him? What's the fear
Oh no.
related to your son?
His father has actually spent time in prison for selling drugs, and he seems to be like struggling. He has anger issues, I think, because of his father. I divorced his father when he was 3.
Okay, perfect. So let's get into this. When you think of that fear, Sheila, where does it show up in your body?
I guess now probably it's in my my stomach.
Okay, perfect. And what color is it?
Black.
All right. What kind of shape does it have?
Jagged.
Jagged, like circular jagged, or is it more of like a block, or just like
Circular.
okay. And is it heavier or lighter than the rest of your body?
Heavy.
What about the temperature? Is it warmer or cooler than the rest of your body?
Cold.
It's cold. Okay. Are there any sounds associated to it that you can be aware of?
No.
Is there any movement? Is it bouncing around or spinning, or is it just sitting there?
Sitting there.
And how big would you say it is? Is it like the size of a softball or a watermelon or a little marble?
I'd say a softball.
And is there anything else that you can notice about it, the characteristics or traits?
Not other than it's almost suffocating.
Okay. If that emotion had a voice, what would it say?
I don't know.
If you did know, what would it say?
I think it would say that I have done everything. I have said everything. I have prayed. I have asked for prayer. And it's almost like it's out of my hands, but I can't like let it go.
Okay, that sounds to me like the voice of justification, not the voice of fear.
Okay.
Because that sounds like an answer to the fear, right? I've done this, I've tried this, I've asked for this. But if the fear itself had a voice, what would that say?
Well, I don't know. That's hard. fear. Maybe please listen to me. Other than that, I can't think of anything. I'm sorry.
So I want you to really tap in to this energy. Okay. I want you to really connect with that black, jagged, heavy circle in your stomach. Can you do that? Are you in a place where you can close your eyes and just totally focus on that energy?
Yes, they're closed. Yes.
Perfect. And I want you to let everything else go. I want you to let your mind shut off. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to fully focus on that energy of the fear. We just haven't touched it yet, which is fine. We generally don't want to. But if you could connect with that energy of fear.
Failure.
Okay, keep going. What's there? If it had a voice, what would it say?
Hurt. Like really, really bad hurt. Like physical hurt. Death. Oh, death. That probably, because that brought some tears. So I would say death.
What does that mean? What's the statement behind that? Behind death?
To go back a little bit further to maybe make sense of all of that.
You can tell me that after.
Okay.
I don't want you to explain right now. I just want you, because death is just a word. Right? I want to know why you said that brought you tears. Are you afraid of dying? Are you afraid of him dying? Are you afraid of him killing somebody?
No. I'm afraid of him dying.
Okay. Is there anything else in that emotion? Anything else that emotion could say, or would say rather, if it could talk?
No.
Okay. And that's okay if it's no. I just want to give you a sentence stem or prompt, and we'll just see if anything else comes out. And again, if nothing else does, it's totally fine. What you have here is enough. Let's see if you can sort of jar anything if you just say, I am afraid of. So you have, I'm afraid of him dying. I'm afraid of. Just say that a few times and see what comes out of your mouth. And if it's just repeating what you said before, that's fine. We'll see if something else is in there. I'm afraid of.
I'm afraid of losing him. I can't think of anything else.
Okay. What's going on in the background there? Is that you doing something? Is there something distracting?
I had a Kleenex. I was wiping my tears.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that you can be like, that you're still in the moment and connected. Okay, so thank you. You're doing great, by the way. So afraid of him dying, afraid of losing him. Obviously, that brought some emotion. So I want you to just breathe that in, like with your breath. You're connecting with the reality of all of that.
Okay.
And now my question for you is, what's the truth?
The truth is that that I have no control over that, and the past history doesn't necessarily have to repeat itself in him.
What else? What's the truth?
It sounds very selfish, but I guess if something happened to him, I don't know how I would get through it.
Sheila, what's the truth? That's a scary thought. What's the truth?
The truth is that God has helped me through the other tragic things that have happened in my life, and that He would get me through this as well if it happened.
Beautiful. What else? What's the truth?
I guess the truth is I have no control over whether something happened to him or whether it didn't.
What do you have control over?
I have control over showing him my love for him and making sure that he knows that I'm here for him and that I will always be here for him.
Excellent. Now, I want you to really connect with your heart right now. Can you do that?
Yes.
Connect with the essence of who you are. And let's just ask the core of your heart, what's the truth?
That I love him more than life itself.
Anything else? What's the truth? Or does that feel complete?
I think that feels complete.
You feel pretty connected to your body right now?
Yes.
Beautiful. So has that old energy, the jagged black circle, has that changed at all? Has it gotten bigger, smaller? Has it moved? What's happened to it?
I think it's gotten smaller. I feel more I think my heart feels a little bit more energized, bigger. My heart feels bigger.
Okay, that's good. And so as you think about your heart feeling bigger, I want you to focus on that for a moment. What's the color that comes to you as you feel your heart being bigger?
Red.
Like dark red or light red, or what kind of red?
I
A
think a
traditional
fire engine red.
fire
Energy.
engine red. Nice. Okay. And where does that show up in your body? Is it right at your heart, or is it anywhere else in your body?
No, in my heart.
Right in your heart. Does it have any other kind of shape, or does it have a heart shape, or does it have another kind of shape?
I think a heart shape.
Okay, perfect. Is it like a 2-dimensional heart or a 3-dimensional heart?
3.
Beautiful. And how big would you say it is? Like the size of an actual heart, or is it a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller?
I'd say it's a little bit bigger.
Okay, that makes sense because you said your heart felt bigger a little while ago. And what about the temperature? Does it feel warmer or cooler than the rest of your body?
Warmer.
Beautiful. And how about lighter or heavier than the rest of your body?
Lighter.
Excellent. Is there any sound that you notice?
No.
Okay. Is there anything else that you can notice at all? Texture, any other characteristics or traits?
No, it just feels peaceful.
Beautiful. So now I want you to imagine, Sheila, that peaceful fire engine red energy starting to expand throughout your whole body. Allow it to go up towards your neck and into your head. Allow it to go down both arms toward the tips of your fingers. Allow it to move through your torso, through your hips, through your thighs, all the way down to the tips of your toes. Can you feel that?
Yes.
Beautiful. Now, if you had a choice from this point forward, Sheila, and you could either choose to pay attention to that old, black, jagged energy, or pay attention and live in this energy, you could only choose one. You can never choose the other and ever go back. Which would you choose?
Oh, definitely the one that's alive, the red one, not the black one.
Beautiful. And so right now, I want you to imagine that red energy, that aliveness that you said, such a beautiful word, the peacefulness, the calm. I want you to imagine that red energy soaking into every cell of your body, so much so that that old black thing literally disappears, if you can even still see it or feel it at all. And I want you to notice it going away, notice it dissolving. Maybe it integrates with the red, or maybe it disappears, or maybe it exits out of one of your body parts or something. But really allow it to go away because it doesn't want to be there.
Right.
And when you feel that it's gone, then let me know.
I can honestly feel it now.
Beautiful. Because it was a foreign energy in your body. It didn't want to be there any more than you wanted it to be there. And it was all based on pain anyway, right?
Right.
Excellent. So is there anything else that's coming to you as an image or a word? We have peace, we have love, we obviously have the beautiful image of the 3D heart, the fire engine red. Is there anything else that's coming to you that you feel needs to be spoken, or question that you have for completion, or does this feel complete in integrating this new truth throughout your whole body?
No, I think it's complete.
So what can you do moving forward as it relates to your son?
I can love him and use what I have been learning from you in my daily contact with him.
Beautiful. So just let that soak in. I'm sure a lot of people went on a little journey with you as well. So if any of you that were just listening to that were moved by that process, maybe there's somebody else in your life. Maybe some of you do have a son that there was some anxiety around or fear around. Just let me know in the webinar comments here if that was beneficial for you as well. So Sheila, thank you very much. I can certainly feel a shift. You put the whole group in just this place of love right now. Like I can totally feel the energy. I think a lot of people can feel the shift, not just in you, but in like the fabric of the beingness right now, just on this call. I can feel that. Just to debrief this last voicing the emotion, it's a quicker exercise in that basically all you do is you light up the emotion, you do the VAK, and then say, what would it say? Like you just give it a microphone, right? And the only thing that we're looking for here is a heartfelt message. So you heard me tell Sheila that it sounded to me that the voices that were coming out of the emotion were justification, like I've done everything, but it was her head talking, right? There was a lack of resonance in your voice. And that's because you were in your head and you weren't fully connected to that emotion. That's totally fine. There's no judgment there. That's just the way this works for most people. And so I wanted her to get into her head, into her heart rather. I wanted her to really connect with that energy, right? So you heard me ask her to make sure everything is shut away, and let's connect and let's close our eyes and really be one with that, with that energy. And a lot of people won't want to do that, especially anything that's painful, because most people don't want to experience the pain, right? So even if they'll shine a light on it, a lot of times they won't want to touch it. We need them to touch it in order to give it a voice, right? So she was aware of the emotion, but she wasn't fully connected to it because it wasn't speaking yet. I could tell that that emotion wasn't speaking yet just by the quality of her voice. And so I just wanted her to connect a little bit more, and she did that, and she closed her eyes, and then some more words came out that were more indicative of that emotion of fear. She said failure, hurt, really bad hurt, death, right? And you heard me explore that a little bit because she was only speaking in single words or a phrase like really bad hurt, but she wasn't putting any meaning to that, right? So you heard me ask, what does death mean? Does that mean you're going to die? Does that mean he's going to die? Does that mean he's going to kill somebody? There's all kinds of different perspectives of death. And remember, as a coach, you have to understand as much as possible where they're coming from. So I believed that she was talking about him dying, but she didn't say that. And so I want her to say that. And I also want to make sure that I'm right, that I understand exactly where she's coming from. So you heard me explore a little bit, and then I wanted her to just see if there was anything else there. So I gave her the sentence stem, I am afraid of, and all that came out was him, or she said losing him, right? Now that's where the head is getting in here. The head is saying, I'm going to lose this child. Now he's not a possession for you to keep or lose anyway, but that's the way that you're holding on to it, right? Most of us hold on to death as a loss. That's where so much of the fear comes from. But then you'll notice, if you go back and listen to the recording, I'm talking to everybody, not just Sheila, you'll notice that the energy started to shift a little bit. And when I said, I don't know exactly what the prompt that I asked her for. I think I said, like, if you connect with your heart, what's the truth in there, or something like that. And she said, God has helped me through tragedy before, and he'll help me through this again if that works. So this is a very powerful reframe when people realize, even if the thing I'm afraid of happening happens, it'll still be okay. I will be okay. The world won't end. It's not being insensitive toward the idea that somebody might die or anything like that. It's just there's a calming feeling when people face their biggest fears and say, even if that happens, I'll be okay. The world won't end. And there was just a slight shift in her energy. Now she's starting to breathe into a new reality, right? And she's coming from her heart. And then she said, I have no control, for the second time. But when she said it the first time, it was from a place of victimness. I don't have any control. Like, I don't know what bad thing is going to happen. When she said, I have no control the second time, she basically used the exact same words, but she said it from a different place. The first time she said, I have no control, it was her head being afraid of what might happen, and then realizing that since she can't control it, all she can do is be afraid of it. The second time she said it from her heart. I have no control, therefore there's no reason to experience his death before anything bad happens. That's crazy. So I might as well love him. So that's the cool thing about coaching, when people can say the exact same thing entirely different. And then she can move into love. When people are connected to their heart, they're connected to their love. And yeah, you know what? Your son's going to die. Just like you're going to die, just like I'm going to die, just like everybody who has the blessing of being alive will die. But that doesn't mean you have to experience his death before it happens. And you definitely don't have to poison your body by living in the pain and the anxiety. And you also heard me cut her off when she started to tell the story. And then sometimes I would have listened to it, but I didn't want to cut the process off because I didn't want her head to tell me why it's okay for her to have these fears. I wanted to continue the process while we were there. I didn't want her to get out of her connection and then have to get back in. And truth be told, it's not necessary. Now, I would imagine, based on the fact that she wanted to tell me, that something happened in her family. Maybe there was another child that died. Maybe there was an uncle that died. Maybe something else happened that's tragic, that's based on some way, directly or indirectly, the problems that this child's father had. But none of those are relevant to her clearing her own stuff, which is in her body. Right. So that's why I didn't listen to it at that time. And I think you probably heard me, cut her off pretty bluntly and directly, but with love, right? And just, let's bring you back, because that wasn't relevant. It wasn't going to help the process at the time. That was just a justification. Let me tell you why these feelings are okay. And that doesn't mean I disagreed with her. It just means it wasn't going to be relevant to what we were doing right now. So we just kept her in that energy, and eventually she moved into love. And I think you could all feel her breathing differently, right? It was like she was breathing up near the tops of her beingness, and probably shoulders were really high when she was thinking about the fear and the anxiety and that black ball of cold death, right? I mean, that's really what it was. And then she started to move, slower and slower into her body. And you heard her voice literally change, like it was a different person. The beginning of the exercise versus the end of the exercise, it's literally like those words are coming out of a different set of vocal cords. That's the shift that happened. And that's the shift that often happens when people speak from their head and then they move into their heart. And then I didn't even ask these questions before she gave the answer, right? I did ask her, how has the old energy changed? Sorry, I haven't been moving through my slides here. Uh, I asked, how has that old energy changed? She said it's gotten a little smaller. I wanted it to go away, obviously. Now, the way we ask that question is important. We don't say that, is it gone? Like, we don't want them to know that it's supposed to be gone, because then if it's not gone, they might tell you that it is because they think they're supposed to say yes, and then you miss something, right? So you just say, has it changed at all? Has it gotten bigger? Has it gotten smaller? Has it moved? And then they'll tell you, right? In this case, she said it was a little smaller. Well, I don't want it to be smaller. I want it to be gone. And she mentioned heart, and she said she feels like her heart's bigger. So that was the image right there, right? So just kind of engage that a little bit. We did the VAK on the heart. Tell me about the color. Tell me about the size. Tell me about the energy. Now, you notice the old energy was cold and heavy. The new energy is warm and light. It's complete opposite, right? Because that's the difference between head and the heart. And then she brought up the word peace. I didn't even ask the question, but what's the word or the phrase? She said peaceful, and later on she said alive. So now we have the complete shift in reframe for her. Her emotion was totally different. I asked that energy to expand until the black energy was gone, and she said, I can't even feel it anymore. So now we have a measurable experience for a client that says, I just shifted. And now she acts from the place of love and peace and aliveness, and just love on your baby. None of us know what's going to happen later on today, let alone tomorrow, let alone next week, or anything in the future. But what we can do is love on our babies now. And we can love on our spouses now.
Powerful, right? So if you like this video, go check out the entire first module of this paid coaching certification program and see if it's a good fit for you.
Knowledge without implementation is ignorance. So I'm going to focus on the piece that's actually more important than the knowledge, which is the implementation.